Hey everyone, it's Dooley1999 here with a tutorial video on sensors. There's four main sensors in the game. There's a detector, radar, sonar, and hydrophone. Each sensor does its own. They all do the same thing of spotting for ships and any sort of contacts. However, the way they do each task is different from one another. The way I like to remember it the best is that sonar and hydrophone are for things in the water, radar and detector are for things above water. Now that's a very dumbed down way to remember it, but that is kind of how I believe new players should think of it. So we're gonna start with probably the most basic but helpful, in my opinion, form of detection, and that's the detector. Now, detector is looks like this when the ship's active. It is you can see here that it's kind of just it's a yellowish display. It shows your ship in the middle, and it has lines going out at the 0, 45, 90 degree angles from your ship. These bearings here are based on relative to your ship. So 0 is not always north, 90 is not always east, 180 is not always south, and 270 is not always west. It depends on how your ship is oriented in the world. Right now the ship is facing south, so 0 is actually to our south. Now to adjust bearings on a hydrophone, you just right click and it'll spin this little white little reticle around and tell you what your bearing is set to. To switch on the detector, and all other signs I believe are the same, is you shift right click the sign, and that's going to switch it on. You can already see here, so I placed a target way out, probably about 2,000 meters out from us, and you can see, so the other target is, so basically the way detector works is detector is what's referred to as a passive detection system, meaning it doesn't send out any sort of ping, it doesn't expose in any way yourself. However, if another ship is using radar and is scanning, detector or radio and is sending messages, detector will pick that up. Now the AI ship that I spawned in is using their radar, and that's why here in a second you'll get this staticky noise. So, let's see. Right there. Notice how it's really strong. It's a thick yellow and it slowly dissipates to nothing. That's because when a radar sweeps, radar is what they're using, right? It kind of, you all have seen a radar, it's like a spinning thing. And basically, when that line is the thickest, that's when their line is going across our ship. So, detector's a really good way of knowing if somebody knows that you're out there. It's very good at telling you that somebody knows of you. So that's why I recommend detector on most ships. It just tells you very good information. Again, to adjust the bearing, you just are going to right click, and with detector, the bearing doesn't have a huge input on your ability to detect stuff. However, some signals are very faint, and you'll see right here the MHZ. That is, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that is their radio frequency. If not, it's just a random number that's assigned to a ship. I cannot remember if it has anything to do with radio, but that is just a number that is associated with that particular contact. Now, if I were to find two targets on detector that both are scanning me, I would get two different lines with two different frequencies showing up on the detector. So, Shift left will back up the bearing for you too if you pass it, sort of thing, as well as left click. So, but we're gonna go ahead and shut it off, and that's about it for Detector. So coming down this hallway, we're gonna go into my radio room, and here's where I'm gonna show how the radio works. Now, on a radio, or sorry, not a radio, radar, apologies. I think I might have said radio a second ago, I meant radar. A radar is kind of like, it's another surface detection system, but it is an active system. You can see here that we have picked up a target. So, to turn on the radar, it's the same as the other instruments where you shift right click to switch it on and off. Now, radar is kind of cool because you can actually stop the sweep and keep the bearing on one singular point if you want to. So, for example, we know there's that target off of our 45, so I can stop the sweep. See if I can do it. Sometimes you gotta be a little skilled with it and finesse it. But when it comes up basically on your radar, you can stop it and you'll get a constant update and constant like bearing. Let's see. I wonder where that target went. Let's see. They are still active, so let's see. It's in Atlantis, so it's a very small target. Let's look at that. Well, anyways, they're not on radar for some reason, but if you want to, you can adjust the range to about 1,000. Maybe we'll have better luck doing that. I think I saw they were at 699 meters. That number in the bottom right, that's range. So if there is a contact, there will be a number written there. So it's very possible that they're just such a faint contact at this point that we're not picking them up, which is pretty common with really, really small ships. Really, really small ships, they can kind of get away with that stuff. Looks like we're not going to get it. That's okay though, because you understand the idea. There's different ranges you can adjust the radar. It goes up to 2,000. We're going to go ahead and shut it off with shift right, and that's pretty much it for the radar. Alright, so on most destroyers and smaller ships, you'll find a sonar, and sonar is very useful, although it's a bit situational. It's kind of something you're going to want to use when you are trying to hunt a submarine that you already know exists. So it's like the other ones where when you shift right click, you can adjust the mode. There's an off mode, obviously. So let's see, off. It's going to continue that ping though for us since we already sent it out, even though it's off. So it's off. Let's adjust the bearing to 0. Okay. So manual is the most basic of pinging systems, or pinging methods, I should say. And what you do is basically you just punch the sonar, and it's going to send out a sonar ping. And you know, this sonar ping is a physical ping. Let's see if I can show you this here. Underwater. Let's see if yeah, I might not be able to show it to you too well with constant mode, but here in a second I'll switch it over to Omni, and you'll definitely be able to hear it then. So let's just head back to the ship. So let's go ahead and switch modes to sweep. Now sweep is the same idea as manual, but it's gonna adjust the bearing with every ping. So it's gonna sweep. Constant is similar to sweep, except it's not going to adjust the bearing, but similar to sweep, it's going to send out a ping every time one is done. It's kind of like manual, except it clicks for you, is a good way to think of it. Now target is really good. Target is for if you actually pick up a contact, the moment that it picks up that contact, it's going to send out another ping. And it's going to send one out, you know, in that sort of speed where if they're getting closer to, this is when you're going to start getting those rapid ping, 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 ping. You know, it's going to speed up as you get closer to the target. That's what target mode does. Omni is really good. Omni is kind of like a search mode. And with Omni, it sends out a ring here. This is a good one for me to show you the sonar ping. Let's go underwater. And let's have a listen. Have to give it a second. So there was a ping, and that's what it sounds like when you're in a sub too. You'll get that same sound. Now, if you're really far away from the sub, or from the destroyer, I don't even know where it is. It's over there. Let's have a listen. It's a much lower ping. So sonar is good in the sense that it will spot targets for you that are really far away. However, it's going to be really good at telling other submarines that you're looking for them as well. Now let's go ahead and let's show you. Let's turn this volume down. I'm sure that's loud. Let's. Sweet. Okay. We're gonna use Max's Baleo as an example. So, with the Baleo, alright. Let's see how he's got this thing laid out. Oh, there's a sonar ping right there. Okay. Here's a hydrophone. Now, here we go. Hydrophone works similar to other instruments, but it's kind of cool because you can actually, hope you can hear that, you can hear feedback. And that feedback that you're hearing is the boiler system on the destroyer. You can see there's a signal value there of 0.454, meaning it's a pretty strong signal. And the blue line signals that there's a ship there. And there's another line right there that it just got brighter over, but I believe it's the red line is sonar pings. I could be wrong, but we'll see here in a second. Let's go ahead and see if we can't really quick about this. Let's see. We're gonna go on the destroyer here. Now, hydrophone's really cool. Hydrophone tells you a lot. You can tell a lot of what's going on a ship by the hydrophone. So let's go ahead and let's fire some torpedoes here. Let's race back to the sub. Can't get down to that hydrophone quick enough to hear the torpedo on the hydrophone. Aha, there we go. We're on the hydrophone now, and you can hear the torpedo, right? And not only can you hear it, but you can see it travel by. So it's pretty sweet, and that's represented by the yellow line there. And the closer that torpedo is, the louder it's going to be too. Similarly, to torpedoes being hearable, if we go over to the destroyer again, let's fire some K-guns off. Let's do a pretty deep depth so I can actually get to them. There we go. Shift right click for depth charges. That's right. Alright, now let's rush back to the, oh, come on. God, now I'm gonna, yeah. Alright, now let's see. Let's go inside of here and get on the hydrophone. And, we listen. Now we might be outside of our range. Let's see. Have a listen. Listen for those to explode. There we go. There's the white line. Tells you exactly where the depth charges blew off at. So, hydrophone tells you a lot about what's going on, which rightfully it should, because you're actually hearing whatever's going on. But that's going to conclude this video, and those are sensors on high caliber. There's talks of maybe adding other types of sensors in the future, but these are the four main ones that every player should know how to use, and knowing how to use really helps. And an important thing to note, I didn't say this earlier, with sonar and hydrophone, at speed, they work less and less efficient. So if you're going really fast with a hydrophone, you can hardly pick up, like your ability to pick up stuff is very diminished depending on the speed you're going. If you're going 20 knots, I think, you basically can't hear anything through a hydrophone. And on a sonar, I believe it's similar. The sonar is just a little bit weaker at range, but why don't we end this video with torpedo hits on the sub? I think it's shift right click to aim. Let's see if we even hit. Oh, I don't know if we will. Oh, those two won't. These two are looking pretty good though. They might just miss. Nope, they're gonna hit. Assuming they don't dud, that is. Oh, dudded. Big hit. With that popping noise you heard, that was AA ammunition popping off. But also there is a splitting mechanic in the game. I don't think I've mentioned that in one of the videos. That if your ship loses a particular amount of blocks that bind a structure together below the waterline, the ship will crack in half. So that's what happened there. And now how they sink to the bottom, and you can rescue the villagers. But yep. Anyways, guys, that'll conclude this video on sensors, and I hope to see you guys in more instructional videos in the future.